Coming up on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, Dead Presidents Edition. Hi, my name is Trainin, and this is Mobile Learning in the Classroom, and today we're having our Dead Presidents Edition. Usually we do that towards President's Day, but this year we didn't, and besides, since then I've actually acquired a few more resources to think about when we think about how do we teach history and how do we teach the history of this country through presidents. It's not the only way to do that, but it is an interesting way to do that, and it does help contextualize and put things on a timeline. So the first resource I wanted to talk about is Presidential Podcast, and the Presidential Podcast was created by Lillian Cunningham as a Washington Post piece of work, a podcast. It was produced in the run-up to the last election, and it contains lots of episodes, one per president, and it doesn't matter if the president's time in office was very short or considerably longer. It includes a short biography and an evaluation of what they've accomplished and what does it mean in our context today. There's conversations with historians, with authors, and with librarians, especially from the National Archives. So it is very interesting, it is very personal. I highly recommend it if you're working with middle schoolers and above. At the elementary level, there are some discussions that would probably be less appropriate and you might not be ready for. Obviously, just like any other resource, if you're using it in your classroom, I highly recommend listening to at least a few so you know what the style is and you're not surprised by the content. But I really do think that it's a great way to introduce the president because it comes alive, because some of it is personal, they tell personal stories, but on the other hand, it is listening and it is fairly short. So the Presidential Podcast or Presidential is great, and you can get it on iTunes, you can get it through other platforms as well, so you can get it through FM and others on the Android as well. So that's the first thing. I enjoy that resource. I'm now up to the 12th president and moving from there, so that's a great way. The second resource I wanted to talk about is different ways to use CrashCourse. So CrashCourse has sequential courses that are directly related to high school classes, especially AP classes. But another way to do that is, of course, to just do a search in CrashCourse for all items presidential, and you can see that you've got the more conceptual things like presidential power. This is from the government class, and there are multiple parts to that. Progressive president, so it's in a way to collect the presidents and think about them as a unit and not just individual students one at a time. Again, government, how presidents govern, but then you've got specific episodes on key presidents, including Jackson, Jefferson. So if we'll look at Jackson for a second.
Hi, I'm John Green. This is Crash Course U.S. History, and today, after last week's bummer on slavery, we turn to a happier topic, the rise of democratization in the U.S.
This is a way just to get a taste. The next thing I want to point to is the History Channel. The History Channel has something called The Vault, and The Vault has lots of videos and shows that go beyond what is currently available. And one of the things that they have, as you just browse the app, you can see that in their collections, they have collections about multiple things, but there is a collection about presidents called Inside the Presidency. It's got 38 separate videos. So again, it's a way to get a glimpse into what you can see. And this is, of course, just like a presidential is a podcast, and you're getting a lot of audio information, a lot of conversation that is very personal. In the History Channel, you get actually a view using a lot of visuals, another way to connect to the material. When you do a search on the presidents online, you find really two things that are very, very common. They're great resources just to get started, and these are resources you can use with younger kids as well. You get the presidents. This This app is called The President on the iPad. You can find similar things on all platforms. And you get the president, you get the picture, and then you get some very, very basic information about them. It's a very basic app. You can use it to practice knowing the names, knowing some details about presidents, but obviously it's without historical context and everything else that comes in with that. So it's got a very limited view. And if you look at the App Store on either platform, what you will find is lots of quizzes about presidents. Again, this is very shallow information, so you don't want to use it extensively or the only resource, but it is a way to kind of practice who are the presidents in order or not in order, and a few details about them. I've chosen one called Presidents, and you can see that this was designed for the phone specifically, and you can see that you can get quizzes, and then you can do a presidential quiz, and you start playing. There are ads in this app, but I don't think that matters quite as much as we'd like to think. And you can see that if you don't respond within a certain amount of time, it gives you the answer. So there is a chance to learn from this app as well. So today on Mobile Learning in the Classroom, we talked about how we can know more about our dead presidents, and I'll see you next time.